And the big one is still...
And surprisingly good bout in which Greg Page knocked out Tillis, Jim Quick Tillis, in the 8th round. Now, who is Randall Tex Cobb? Never been in prime time before, and we don't think we can take you into this fight with Cobb challenging the likes of Larry Holmes without acquainting you with the kind of person he is and what his boxing history has been. So let's begin with the young man who has a record of 20-2 as we capsulize his past boxing history. August 2nd, 1980, round 2. Cobb's first fight against a name opponent, Ernie Shavers. Shavers giving it to Cobb. Cobb, a tree trunk of a man. Indefatigable and indomitable, taking the best Shavers could offer, then coming back in the same round and giving it to Shavers, punishing him again and again and again. And he kept it up until the 8th round when the referee stopped the fight and gave it to Cobb. Cobb against Norton, November 7, 1980, round 9. And Cobb giving it to Norton, then in the twilight of his career. Once an excellent fighter, but now a shell of himself. And yet, Norton came back in the 10th round, and they gave Kenny a controversial decision. And so Cobb had suffered his first defeat. But look at him as he pummeled Norton in the 9th round, evidence of how he can stay after an opponent. And then there was the fight against Michael Dokes, March 22, 1981, the 10th round. It had been give and take throughout the fight. Dokes with skills similar to Holmes, quickness of hands and feet. But Cobb kept at him and kept at him and kept at him. So the fight was an extremely close one. And in the end, it was the second controversial defeat in a row for Randy Tex Cobb as they gave the decision, a majority decision, to Michael Dokes. The crossroads fight of Randy Cobb's career would come next on November 6, 1981, against hard-punching Bernardo Mercado. And there was Cobb weathering the storm. Mercado, a tremendous puncher in a class with Ernie Shavers in that regard. But Cobb, if every fight went 50 rounds, he might never lose one. He is the latter-day George Chuvalo in that regard. And so Cobb didn't yield, kept on top of Mercado, won an important 10-round position. His last fight, Cobb against Schellberg, April 19, 1982. And Schellberg, a punching bag for Randy Tex Cobb. This mismatch stopped in the 8th round. The boxing history of Tex Cobb. Tex, as I read the print medium, you're given no chance at all against Holmes. It's like this fight should not have even been licensed. Do you have an answer?
Well, it's certainly amazing when you think of all the tremendous accuracy that the people, the boxing experts, have made, and I believe the latest has been the thing with Arguello and Pryor, which favored Arguello 2-1.
So you're not fazed by what's been printed?
Printed, said, animated, or even screamed from the rooftops, friend. That's somebody's opinion, which has not been the kind of thing that I have based my life on.
You're not troubled by Holmes' impeccable record and his clearly established boxing skills. How will you go at him?
Dead solid. Full speed.
In other words, you will keep coming forward. Won't you be playing into his hands?
Well, now, if I was to back up and outbox him, I would be playing into his hands, wouldn't I, Howie?
You know, you're a good guy and a good interview. Now, let me ask you this much. Much has been made of the fact that he will cut you up with his jab, your tendency to cut. Your reaction to that?
Well, I believe that just most people getting read in the ring do bleed. And I feel as though there's always the potential of getting cut. And after all, I am a white boy. So I do have a tendency toward that area. However, I feel like if I keep my hands up, my head moving, and if I keep him on his butt, well, then I won't be bleeding near as much as everybody thinks.
Do you believe you can deck him, having seen him decked by Shavers and by Ronaldo Snipes?
Having seen him decked by Ronaldo Snipes, I believe I can knock him dead.
Good luck to you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
And there, as we come back live to the Astrodome, is the champion. And I mean the champion. I don't care about WBA and WBC. This man is a fine fighter. And we will be talking with Larry Holmes. We'll return for more of this ABC Sports exclusive after this commercial and a word from our local stations. Larry Holmes always longed for public acceptance and public recognition of him as a great champion. He got both when on June 11th, 1982, little more than 5 months ago, excuse me, he knocked out Jerry Cooney in the 13th round in Las Vegas. Let's go back, look at some of the highlights of that fight, and then my talk with Larry Holmes about Cobb and tonight. Stalking, Holmes dancing, lots of movement. A good blow by Holmes, a good right. And it's called a knockdown. It is called a knockdown. Holmes scored with the right, and Cooney went down. The first knockdown of the fight. But the knockdown by Holmes, not by Jerry Cooney. And the left got into the belt. A good right by Cooney. A much better round for Cooney. A much better round. Another good right by Cooney. Cooney's coming on in this round. Cooney the aggressor. Angie Dundee used to call Jerry a one-arm bandit, saying he can only fight with the left. Cooney getting it now from Holmes. For a moment looked like Jerry might go down. Holmes is really laying it all over. Cooney is not in good shape. Suddenly a Holmes attack. And Cooney fought out of it with a left as the round ended. This is where experience comes in. Oh, boy. Oh. Good round so far for Cooney. Good comeback round for Jerry Cooney. I see fatigue in Larry Holmes. That's why there's no movement. Larry Holmes is in trouble. He's covering. The one right is hardly an answer. And then another right. Cooney is fighting with a viciousness born of desperation, and he is succeeding. But he remains vulnerable to the Holmes right. Now it's getting a little sloppy because both men are tired, and Holmes trying to tee off and doesn't have the strength left, I don't think, tonight. Oh, Jerry's ready to go. There it is. Valley is calling it off. Let the scene speak. Tex says he's going to knock you out. Talks like he believes it. You give him any chance at all?
Well, you heard that before, Howard. All fighters thinking that they can go in and knock a person out, but Tex is fighting the fighter that he never would have dreamed that he was going to fight before in his life. I'm going to get Tex Cobb a boxing lesson. I'm going to make him drunk before I mug him. And it's going to be like that all night long.
In other words, the fight plan's obvious. Use the jab, use the ring, cut him to ribbons, and finally put him away.
If I can, Howard, Tex Cobb is known to take a good punch. He's durable, and I just got to take his strength away from him. If I can take his strength away from him, I will knock him out. I don't feel that he's a better fighter than anybody that I've fought. I don't feel that he's as good as a lot of fighters that I fought, but I know that he's durable, he's going to be there, and he's after what I worked so hard for. That's the heavyweight championship. I'm expecting a good fight.
It seems to me, on a career basis, Larry, and we've been together so long, you have two problems. One, advancing years, 2, not taking your opponents too lightly, and maybe 3, finding somebody to fight. Now, do you cope with those problems in your own mind?
Well, I know my age is getting old as far as fighters go at 33 years old, but I'm a healthy 33. Muhammad Ali fought until he was 40. I feel that I have taken care of myself better than Muhammad Ali, and the whole game is that I fought everybody out here to fight, and I'm still willing to give other fighters the opportunity to try to take my title away. But that does not bother me. I'm doing things that I like. Until I don't like to do it anymore, I'll back down and let somebody else have it. But right now I feel good about myself, and I'm going to continue to do it until I no longer feel good about it.
The final problem, though, continues to be incentive. You've already told me you've fought better fighters than Cobb in the past. How can you get yourself any incentive for this occasion?
2 things, Howard. My mind and my body. That's all I have. And I know if I don't take care of these 2 things, and I know Cobb will try to do something to it. So this gives me an incentive. This incentive to be heavyweight champion after 40 fights, after 41 fights. The incentive to be able to go and grow and let my kids stand up and be proud of their father. And this is what I work for, and this is what I'm going to continue to work for.
Any afterthoughts about the Cooney fight? Because a key expert in pay TV has told me on national television a Cooney return within the next year would gross, from all sources, over $100 million. What's your view?
First of all, Howard, it can't be like the first fight. They will have to put the money in the bank before the fight. I can't speculate on $100 million. I can't speculate on $25 million, which I want. But if it be a second fight, they will have to give me $25 million and put it in the bank, and we will beat Cooney up again, because he still can't accept the thing that Larry Holmes beat him. He tried to prove to the world that he can go 15, but he didn't go 15 rounds. And besides all of the garbage, the publicity that they put upon me prior to the fight, I don't feel that they should have done that. I don't feel that they should have done anything like that to any fighter.
You do respect Cobb as a person, don't you?
Yes, I think he's a very, very likable person. He's a great human being, and he's done a lot for boxing. He's helping boxing with the image, and this is a good fight. It's not a whole lot of garbage in it or racial problems or anything. This is a fight, and this is the kind of fight I like. So you got to respect a man like that.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, Howard, but I'm still going to knock him out.
Back live in the Houston Astrodome, champion Larry Holmes has just entered the ring. And Randy Tex Cobb preceded him. The 2, well, they touched gloves as Larry went straight over to Tex, and it was in the manner that Larry described. There has been no ugliness connected with this pre-fight publicity. The whole question about the fight is, will it be a worthy match? We'll see. There is Tex Cobb, and there is his fighting record, and he weighed in at 234 1/4, and his body looked rather flaccid to me as I viewed him at the weigh-in. In the meantime, Larry Holmes seems to be in utterly superb shape, 217.5. Here's the ring announcer.
For the WBC World Heavyweight Championship, our timekeeper, Tommy Ferris. Counting for the knockdown, Jack Joins. Judges at ringside, Chuck Hassett from California, Chuck Menker from Nevada, and A.D. Spider Bynum from Texas. The referee, Steve Croson. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the participants. Introducing first, the challenger, weighing 234 1/4 pounds from Abilene, Texas, wearing gold trunks with a record of 20-2, Randy Tex Cobb. And the current WBC World Heavyweight Champion, undefeated with a record of 40-0, weighing 217.5 pounds from Easton, Pennsylvania, wearing white trunks, Larry Holmes. 15 rounds for the WBC World Heavyweight Championship.
All right, the introductions of the gladiators by the ring announcer. This fight to be fought under WBC rules and scoring system, unlike Tillis Page, which was fought under the Texas state rules. So, this fight will be scored by 3 judges. The referee, no voice in the scoring. 10-point must system of scoring. 3 knockdown rule waived. Mandatory 8 count, of course. No saving by the bell as you look at Larry Holmes eyeing the opponent in his familiar manner. And Cobb with a half smile on his face. No saving by the bell except at the end of the 15th round, which is scheduled for as a heavyweight championship fight. At the end of the 15th round, the bell of fight is over. We get ready for first round action. Cobb, a hulk of a man, a football player at Abilene Christian, blocked for the likes of Wilbert Montgomery of the Philadelphia Eagles and Clint Longley, the quarterback, briefly with the Cowboys. Larry doing the expected, the quick piston-like left jab. Stinging jab, you saw it there. And using the ring, steady movement. In a circular pattern in the beginning, he can move laterally, very swiftly and gracefully. Third man in the ring is Steve Crossan, veteran referee from Dallas, Texas. Left dominating the first round. Right to Larry's midsection, but with no snap. In point of fact, Tex Cobb, despite his number of KOs, is an arm puncher. There's not a lot of crispness or snap to his punches. Note Larry covering. Cobb trying to work to the midsection. 3 judges who will be doing the scoring. Spider Byron is Larry Holmes doing pretty much what he wants. Spider Bynum, correction, Chuck Hassett and Charlie Minker. Minker, a familiar name from Las Vegas. Hassett from Los Angeles. And Bynum from Dallas. They'll do the scoring. The crowd got whipped up a little bit as Larry almost lost his footing. Naturally, they're partisan, rooting for the young man from Texas who now lives in New Jersey and trains in Smokin' Joe Frazier's gym. We're approaching, as you can see, the end of the first round. Back live in the Astrodome, round 2 about to begin. Quick reminder, Auburn against Alabama live tomorrow, 12 o'clock Eastern time. The Big Bear not about to retire as he leads the Crimson Tide into action. Plus a special halftime report on black head football coaches. You know about Eddie Robinson, Grambling State University in Grambling, Louisiana. Now the fight. First round, Holmes did pretty much what he wanted. Cobb doing what he said in our talk that he would do. He keep pouring in. But he is not what you would call a class act as a fighter. No disrespect for the young man, a fine person. But we're talking professionally in boxing terms. tell you this. You could hit Cobb from Natal Doomsday. As I mentioned during the presentation of the highlights of his boxing history, he reminds one of George Chuvalo. The late Rocky Marciano told me that if all fights were 50 or 100 rounds, Chuvalo would never be beaten. And one gets the same feeling about Tex Cobb. He's never been knocked off his feet. Holmes is a class act. He's a fighter who will fight purposefully. He's not in a hurry to impress anybody. He doesn't feel he has to do that anymore in his career. That was a strong right following a left. Excellent combination. There's the left again. Cobb throwing leather, but not connecting. Not very often. Larry covers well, picks off punches beautifully. Second round is counting down, and you saw a right and then a left and still another. All in rapid combination. Notice Cobb missing. There's the left again. And the end of round 2 at hand. Live at ringside, the Houston Astrodome, Howard Cosell along with Don Chevrier. The first 2 rounds, Larry Holmes giving a boxing lesson to Randy Tex Cobb. Cobb with a bulldog determination, but so far little more than that. There are those who remember, however, the 7th round against Ronaldo Snipes, and they think, can it happen again? And the 7th round, the first time around, against Ernie Shavers. Of course, Shavers then a terrific puncher. So far, no sign of a cut on Cobb. Much publicized his tendency to cut. Matter we discussed with him in the interview. Maybe he taught something to Clint Longley about fighting. Remember Clint? Wanted to have it out with Roger Staubach, and Holmes scores heavily. More than halfway through the 3rd round. Larry's movement constant. Measuring Cobb. Excellent right following the left jab. Cobb keeps missing. There, a right got into the chest, but no snap on it. So far, the fight a reminder of Holmes against Scott Ledoux in Minneapolis. See Holmes counterpunching there, taking advantage of opportunity as Cobb's 2 attempted blows missed just as those 2 missed. And Holmes again. To the end of round 3. Live at the Astrodome, round 4 underway. Holmes, thus far, a class professional against a club fighter in Randy Tex Cobb. Holmes picking off attempted blow after blow by Cobb and then countering with rapid combinations. The left jab, maybe the dominant blow, but lately in combination, the right has scored. That time, Cobb scored with a left. There's that jab. Beats him to the punch easily with it. There was the Holmes right. Note how Cobb is always reaching, trying to get to Holmes. There's the left and right in combination again by Larry. Cobb scored well with a right, maybe his best blow of the fight. More than halfway through round 4. Crowd yelled over the Cobb right, which missed. Larry slipped that punch with his head and promptly counted. Look at that. True to his word, Holmes keeps coming. Oh, look at that. 2 consecutive rights. And a touch wobbly, the man who's never been floored. Cobb desperately trying to get to Holmes, but without the skills to do it. Note Holmes continues to use the ring. And there is blood from the nose of Randy Tex Cobb. From the right nostril particularly. That way it hurts you because the blood goes into the mouth and affects the breathing. As we approach the end of the 4th round, and Larry Holmes just gives a boxing lesson. Round 5, live at the Astrodome, established in the first 4 rounds. Cobb is a tree trunk of a man. He can take a punch. Nosebleed in the 4th round. The Holmes left jab getting in repeatedly. Cobb reaching like that, unable to connect with any authority. Got in 1 right in the 4th round. That was his best blow of the fight. But an arm puncher. As that left beating Cobb to the punch again. The action utterly redundant. Crowd roared over a Cobb left. Yes, he's a native of Texas. Look at that combination. Holmes teeing off on Cobb. But the fella doesn't go down, does he? Cobb now trying to maul and brawl and get inside in some way, get to Holmes. Had him backed into a corner. But not with real effectiveness. More than halfway through this round. Steadily, the attempted aggressor. Larry counterpunching beautifully. But then there's the opponent to consider. Cobb's right eye beginning to swell. It snapped back. And the left again. Not a pretty thing to see, is it? Especially with the pall that's cast over boxing by the recent death of Duk Kim, other boxing deaths in the past, and the laissez-faire attitudes of the apologists for boxing. Cobb is a brave man. We will return for more of this ABC Sports exclusive after this from our local stations. Round 6, and Tex Cobb's left eye is half closed. The nosebleed in the 4th round was not reopened in the 5th. His head must have been carved out of Mount Rushmore, and he certainly has a granite chin. But is this a palatable match? You decide. Cobb misses again and again, and purposefully Holmes responds with quick combinations as the will and the opportunity suit him. See that? 2 pawing blows by Cobb that didn't connect. This crowd goes crazy if there's even an appearance of connecting. And so this round wears away, more than halfway through in the manner of all of the prior ones. It appeared that Cobb scored with a right, but count the lefts thrown and landed by Holmes. Look at that right lead. That really caught Cobb, but the fella doesn't waver, does it? It looked like he might go down, but he still hasn't. And one worries about the degree of punishment. Great. Another look at that right lead by Holmes that set up his subsequent flurry of blows that made it look like Cobb might go down. Look at that. Right up and over Cobb's left, and he grimaced, as you could see. Don Chevrier, look at that eye. What's your view of this, Don?
As you said, Howard, class on the part of Holmes and courage on the part of Cobb. He's taken quite a beating in there. No match for him, but you mentioned George Chuvalo, and the analogy is a fine one. Not since Chuvalo have I seen anybody take heavy punches like that and still stay in his feet. He's thrown everything with the kitchen sink at him. You wonder what Holmes will have to do to end it.
Being a Canadian, you remember Irving Ungerman, Chuvalo's manager. It was once said of Ungerman that Chuvalo would fight as long as Ungerman could stand.
That's about it.
We are getting ready for round 7. There is the bell. Live from the Houston Astrodome. 7. Only an historical reminder, 7th round, when Shavers floored Holmes and when suddenly, unexpectedly, Ronaldo Snipes did. If you think you're looking at an instant replay of each round, you're right. Holmes has led up in this round to this extent. He has thrown far fewer punches and landed far less. But still there is that rapier-like left. Notice him measuring the opponent. And there, scoring heavily with a right as Cobb missed and left himself open. There's the left again. Imagine the number of combinations against this man's head, the punishment he's been taking. Steve Crossan of Dallas is the referee. The end of the round coming up. Remember, tomorrow it's been anything but. Cobb, heavy-legged, ponderous, but with a bravery about him. However, we are not in the age of the Roman Colosseum and the lions. You can see Cobb's face, now all swollen. That left eye, can't see how there can be much, if any, vision left in that. Look at those two lefts, doubled up. Holmes still moving. Cobb's head snapped back by that last left. Notice how Cobb's efforts are still reaching efforts, mainly pawing. fight was a surprisingly good action fight. Tillis slightly outboxing Page. Page in desperate trouble in the second round as the round ended. Look at Holmes, just keeps pouring it on. And then suddenly, as has been Tillis's wont, in the 8th round, Greg at 238 plus pounds caught Tillis and KO'd him. But it was a good fight. We are coming to the end of the 8th round, and by now you could replay the first, the second, the third, take whichever one you want. All right, it's round 9. And one of Cobb's handlers was smiling in the corner. I don't know why. This is a strong, decent man, Randy Tex Cobb. And I hate to see anybody take this kind of punishment. I mentioned the pall cast over boxing once again. My colleague Don Chevrier knows about that. We were together in Montreal the night of Leonard against Duran the first time when Gaetan Hart knocked out Cleveland Denny, who died a number of days thereafter. And Don, you can't measure the aftermath of a fight like this with this kind of punishment, can you?
No, and you would think that boxing people will be a lot more concerned after the events of a couple of weeks ago as to what goes on in a fight such as this. Cobb is taking a tremendous beating.
Crowd doesn't seem to understand. Cobb got in one right, they roared, and you saw Holmes answer with a punishing combination. Right to that head that has taken so many blows. And I think of a fighter of whom I'm deeply fond personally, Alexis Arguello, who's taken so much punishment ever since his second fight against Escalera in Rimini, Italy. And now he's talking about wanting to fight again after the prior affair when he lay unconscious for 3 minutes. Round 9. Holmes won't change his pattern. He'll keep using that left as he just did, snapping the opponent's head. He'll take no chances. The championship means too much to him. And you can't blame him for that. He's not responsible for the officials here. But it seems to me somebody should think about the degree of punishment. Look at that. Holding his glove up to his right cheek. Face swollen. This is brutalization. It's a personal opinion, but I think the referee should think about stopping this fight and fast. I mean, this is not right. And no, he won't go down. Courage of a lion, but why? I don't understand the smile on the face of a handler over there. Look at that. His whole face puffed and swollen. Your comment, Don?
I couldn't agree more, Howard. I think he's taken too many blows, and we might be getting into the danger zone. Fine young man, Randy Cobb. Nobody will question his courage, his stamina. He keeps on coming. He's been outclassed. There's no sense letting him stay and hope he gets a lucky punch in, because it isn't worth the price.
You're absolutely right. I'm sure Holmes feels the same way. Why don't they stop it? Go out, move, next Round 10. Davy Burrell finally stopped the Ledoux fight. Ledoux claimed that he had Holmes. He was punching himself out, which was an utter absurdity. And quite clearly, Larry, still full of movement, still, as the 9th round ended, the punishment he inflicted was simply enormous. He's just picking his spots like that. The referee is Steve Crossan of Dallas. I mention his name because he's got a big responsibility here. The crowd roars. Listen to that, a couple of cawing blows, and the fans cheer like it's affecting Larry Holmes at all, like there's any comparability of effectiveness of punches. Yes, Randy got in a left, so look at Holmes. More and more in these middle rounds. See those two Cobb blows? Both missed. Round 11, and it goes on and on. The referee, Steve Crossan. That head snap back from the Holmes left. Again and again. Experience going into the 11th round. But it has to be a bitter experience, and Lord knows, maybe this man could stand up and take this for 50 rounds. What does that prove? Who knows what the after effects will be? Don't forget, tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern Time, the Big Bear and the Crimson Tide against troublesome Auburn. What goes on in Cobb's corner?
Now listen, just like you did that, Brown. Keep that jab going to him. Keep that jab going. Keep him going back. You can't get off him. Keep that jab on him, just like you would. All right. Keep that jab on him, just like you were doing. You understand? Keep him going back. Do you understand? Yeah. When he fires, go high hand. Now that jab's going up and down, up and down. It's nice. Try to fire you right hand a little faster, right? Okay. But now keep the jab going, right? Okay, I got it. Now the jab is working good for you, Tex, so keep it off balance, right? Now keep it going, right? When you get close, hustle.
Well, I'm kind of sorry we listened to that corner. Keep the jab going. There's one person in this fight's got a jab going again and again and again in every round, and it's like a recurring piston. And that's Holmes's jab. Poor Randy, he's just been pawing. Holmes picks off almost every attempt with his own gloves. Otherwise, the blows are short as Cobb reaches, as you see there. Nothing more to say. Something has to be repaired on Holmes's glove or tape. Eddie Futch runs up and proceeds to put tape on the glove, and there is Tex Cobb. The glove repaired, and we resume action. There go the lefts again, and then the right in combination, then another left. When the crowd was roaring earlier in the round before the glove repair, Cobb was walling and brawling. Look at this. Holmes teeing off again. Savagery doesn't deserve commentation. I'll tell you something, my friend Don Chevrier. This is as brutal a mismatch as I think I've ever seen.
Exactly. So one-sided, and I can't help but thinking we'll be seeing it tomorrow, the U.S. and Cuba in amateur boxing, and some of the safeguards that go into that. One rule I like very much, Howard, is the standing 8 count. This fight would have been over about 10 rounds ago on the basis of 3 standing 8 counts in 1 round under amateur rules. It does safeguard the fighters. It's non-existent here in the pro ranks. Maybe they should think about it.
Well, that's a good point. Also, optional headgear. Well, I've been through it. I've testified before the Congress any number of times.
And astute referees to step in and take charge.
Exactly. This fellow is from Dallas, Texas. Steve Crossan, the referee. And I don't understand his judgment or thinking. This is round 13. What is achieved by letting this man take this kind of beating for 15 rounds? Randy Tex Cobb. Just pushes him off, hits him with the left. Look at that right, left, right. Oh. Point of view of boxing, which is under fire, and deservedly so, this fight could not have come at a worse time. Round 14. This is all self-explanatory. almost a concussion from the mere thud of Holmes's left on Cobb's head. This referee has no intention of stopping this fight. The blood all over Cobb's face now. I wonder if that referee understands that he is constructing an advertisement for the abolition of the very sport that he's a part of. The 15th and final round. Thank heaven.
Has got to be arm weary, if nothing else.
As the prior round ended, Holmes patted Cobb. He certainly doesn't want to inflict further punishment on him.
You mentioned that previous round, Howard. Cobb turned 3 ways to finally discover where his corner was. You think he's not hurt?
Of course he is. Just let him miss and then started in with the right.
On his way to winning his 15th consecutive round. Trevor Berbick went 15 with Holmes, but didn't take anything resembling this kind of punishment.
No. Look at how swollen the poor man's face is.
Hurry up, clock. 90 seconds down. Example right there. The referee totally out of it, Howard.
I can't believe this referee. It's outrageous.
Thank goodness.
All right, it's finally over. Wasn't worthy of commentary in those last 5 rounds, which is why poor man is still smiling, and look how battered and beaten he is. what is achieved by such as this. Larry's not proud. He did his job, but he's not proud. He's a fine, decent man. He can't be happy about this. Where the sport of boxing is concerned, Don, and I've been involved in it for 3 decades and more. Called over 3,000 fights.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Here's the decision.
here is the decision. Judge Hassett scores it 149-136, Holmes. Judge Menker scores it 150-135, Holmes. Judge Bynum scores it 150-135,
That's a shutout.
Holmes. The winner by unanimous decision, and still undefeated world heavyweight champion, Larry Holmes.
I called it a shutout. So did Don Chevrier. Once again, the winner, unanimously, a classic mismatch, Larry Holmes. And there'll be no post-fight interviews. Not for this fight. Stay tuned for ABC News.